Got the headphones on. Ooh, mine is loud. Is yours really loud? So we'll be live in about 6 seconds. Hello everyone out there. This is Dr. Crystal Porter, your hair scientist and host for How the Hair Are You on iHeart Radio, WCSU. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you know, this show is all about hair, and every week there will be a different in-studio guest to discuss different things that matter to you, and no topic is off limits. We'll be discussing any and everything, so if you have any questions, you can tweet me at Main Insights or hit us up on Facebook, either on How the Hair Are You or Main Insights. And also, you can, tweet. Well, I'm going to try the phone lines today as well. So if you want to call in, you can call in at 773-995, no, I take that back, 773-821-4960. I was thinking of a different studio number. So, all right, so we are going to get started by introducing our in-studio guest. Her name is Alicia Nesbary, and she is a Chicago State student. And I invited her because I've been very enthralled by her hair. She has natural hair, and she has, I want to say highlights, or I should say it's actually bleached, meaning that it's a lifted color, and she has a lot of hair, and I know a lot of people have problems with color, so I wanted to bring her in because I know that she has an experience that people would really want to hear about. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Miss Alicia. Thank you, yay, for coming in.
No problem.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just, you're a student here, so what's your major?
Okay, so this is my first year in grad school. Okay. Major in biology. I'm married for 2 years. Woohoo!
Congrats. Congrats.
And I have 2 little dogs at home, no kids.
Okay. All right, and boy-girl dog or 2?
Boy-girl dog.
Okay.
2 Yorkies.
Okay.
They're a handful.
I was just getting ready to say, in lieu of kids, I understand. I have chosen not to deal with anything little that is dependent for as long as I can keep it that way. So, well, wonderful. So, your major is biology. Mm-hmm. And what made you choose biology as your major?
Okay, so I've always been interested in science, but I originally got a first bachelor's in anthropology, graduated, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So that's why I came to Chicago State, and I ended up in a research summer internship that taught me laboratory skills. And after that, that's when I just like, okay, research is for me, because research is what solves the problems in my community, and I definitely want to be involved in that. So I definitely want a career that helps to solve the problems in my community and encourage other women to become scientists.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You have a passion that I do, because as you know, I've worked with other students at Chicago State University to expose them to different research projects in science, technology, engineering, and math. So we share the same passion, so that's great. Well, let's get a little bit of history about your hair. We are on Periscope Live, so if you want to actually look at Alicia's hair, you actually can. She has it out, and she's wearing her crown proudly.
Yes.
So I know that you and I have spoken offline,
Mm-hmm.
and you have shared that you weren't always natural.
Yeah.
So how long have you been natural?
Okay, so I decided to go natural in 2009. So this was after I pretty much ruined my hair. So I was in undergrad at U of I, and I remember the water being so harsh. And it was the first time that I was responsible for my own hair, because up to that point, my mom always did my hair. She's a cosmetologist, so I was on my own. She gave me all the products, and I completely ruined my hair. My hair ended up like a rubber band. And so I just told her, Mom, I just want to cut it off. Heat damage. I think the blow dryer, it was a professional blow dryer, and it was too hot, and I didn't know how to control the heat, or what heat was too much for my hair. So I think it ended up damaging my hair. And after that, it became like a rubber band, and it was just snapping all over the place. It was horrible. So she ended up cutting it off.
You know, you mentioned one thing, and that is, you said the water was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes me think in my mind about how many people don't realize that depending upon where you are in the country, it can really dictate when you wash your hair, or your body for that matter. When you wash your hair with harder water, you have those calcium deposits in there and the minerals.
Mm-hmm.
And it can just wreak havoc on your hair.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to hear that you went to a different environment and experienced something different, and then unfortunately had an outcome that wasn't good. But a lot of times what people don't realize is that you have to adjust your routine for the type of water that you have. And in the Chicagoland area, I know that this could be broadcast all over the world actually, but here in Chicagoland where we are, the water for a metropolitan area is really hard compared to the rest of the country. So we have a tendency to use more shampoo, more conditioner to kind of offset the hardness and the minerals that are in there. So yeah, so for those of you out there who travel, make sure that you really stay in tune with what you're using and how much you use, because even here in Chicago, you'll have a tendency to use more. And when I travel, like either to Vegas or to the LA area, I notice that the water is definitely softer, and I actually like how my hair feels when I wash it there. So yeah, but I'm glad you brought that up, because it made me think about the impact of water hardness. Yeah, so when you said that you came back home and it was your mother?
Yes.
Who
cared for my hair? Yeah.
And
she ended up cutting it off. So
how much?
We ended up, so she grew my hair out so long when I went to college. It was almost bra strap length. Okay. And it was perm, and she ended up cutting it up to my shoulders. So that was the next like step. And then from there I started doing weave, so she would like glue pieces in my hair, and then from there it just like I was like, oh yeah, it has to go now. So we ended up she ended up chopping it off.
So you did the big chop?
No, I did the big chop actually by myself in the bathroom, and it was horrible. And then I went home the very next day, and she ended up shaping it up for me.
Oh my God.
I got so frustrated with my hair, I just stood in the bathroom in front of the mirror and just started chopping.
So had you started growing it out, did you know you were going to go
did.
natural? Oh,
I
okay.
did. So I
wasn't...
couldn't handle the two textures.
Okay.
So it was breaking even more. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm over this. I'm just going to chop this off today. I was really frustrated. And then I went home that weekend, and she shaped it up for me.
You know, it's very difficult. So let me ask you this before I go into the two different texture piece. So how long had you started growing it out before you actually cut it all off?
Maybe 3 months.
Okay, that's a decent amount of time.
3 months.
So you had probably close to 2 inches roughly?
Yeah.
Okay. And so did you cut lower than that?
No.
Okay.
No, she left a little perm on the ends to not give me too much shock.
Okay.
Because I feel like I did the big chop at a time where it wasn't popular. And so I was one of the only girls that really had natural hair. You know, U of I was a small population of black people in the first place. And so here I am, this girl with this small afro. It was very shocking for me, so yeah.
Well, you really need really good products, or a professional, like if you get your hair done every week or every other week, you really need, if you're going to keep the two textures, a really good product or a professional who knows what they're doing to help you transition out of it, because I went natural in 2003, and when I was growing it out, I was able to keep the two textures for about 6 months, I think. And then my cosmetologist was like, okay, can we get rid of this?
That's where it gets real after that 6 month period.
I was like, oh yeah, may as well. But my hair had grown out enough where I could do cornrows to help with the additional transitioning. But the problem that I had is I'm the type that was more susceptible to traction alopecia. So even though the braids were not tight, because I was well aware, being in the industry, that I should not be pulling the edges, And even though it wasn't tight, I still was getting hair strands actually pulling out of the follicle, and you can see it because it looks kind of like dandruff in the front, but it's actually the bulb of the root of the hair that has pulled out from the follicle. And so and I don't know why I was more susceptible to that. So I couldn't grow my hair out with braids, and I wasn't willing to mess with my hair because I wasn't, at that time, I was not willing to pay to go to the hairstylist like every week or every other week. So I ended up getting a relaxer put back in my hair after about a year. But I grown it out for maybe about 4 to 5 inches by the time I went back to a relaxer. But I was able to maintain it so much better without being natural.
So during that time, I would go home and she would do sew-ins for me. So I wore a lot of weaves, during that that first, like 4 inches or so, and then
up until 4 inches.
Up until 4 inches.
Okay. Well, that's not too long.
Yeah,
that's not too long. Okay, so your mom not only does hair, she also knew about hair prosthetics and adding weave, and so she knew how to do it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
I was her guinea pig.
Of course.
Hi, Mom.
Everyone's child, or children are guinea pigs. Well, that's nice that she was able to help you through that, but you still were away at school.
Yeah.
So how was it adjusting to the weaves? Because when you're first introduced to weaves, I mean, that's a whole nother thing you have to get used to.
Hello, weave sisters out there. My thumbs up to you, but I hate weaves just for that reason of like the traction alopecia. So I experienced the same thing. So I would see like little white bulbs, and so she was the only person I would trust to braid my hair, because if I would let anybody on campus braid my hair I was seeing the hair follicles coming out, So
the hair fibers
coming out. So I had the same experience, but I was just so self-conscious about wearing my teeny weeny fro that I just kind of dealt with it.
Well, here's the great thing about that, and for you and me both, when you first see that traction alopecia starting to occur and the bulbs at the root of the hair coming out of the follicle, the great news is that when you first see it, when you stop pulling, then it's reversible. The hair will continue to grow, but it's when you traumatize it and you continue to pull and pull and pull, then you get to the point of no return. So you were very fortunate to have noticed it. A lot of people keep pulling and keep the hairstyles that are eventually detrimental to the health of their hair and scalp.
Well, I experienced when I was in 4th grade, someone twisted my hair. Like when we used to get those twisty styles and put the little butterflies on the knots, like the little knotted style.
You're talking about like Bantu knots?
So it was like Bantu knots. It was like the style when I was like in 4th grade. I wanted them so bad. So my mom finally let me get them, and it was so tight that where the Bantu knot was, it ended up pulling all of my hair there. And I have permanent damage. I have about 5 bald spots. So from that point on, I just knew like my hair cannot be pulled, or it will come all the way out to the point of no return, because the hair still is gone. So I have a lot of hair, but I still have like 5 bald spots in my head.
So let me ask you this: did you ever go to a dermatologist?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to a dermatologist. They gave me a special shampoo. We tried to grow it back, just never grew back.
So is it progressing, Henny? Have you kept an eye on it? Are you measuring to make
it's been
sure
the same.
that
it's just in that
progressing?
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Keep an eye on that. You want to make sure, because the problem is when we have problems and we don't see a dermatologist, and then it starts to progress over time, then the damage has progressed, and then it's harder to fix the problem. So just keep an eye on that. Yeah, absolutely. So that was the motivation for you to go natural, just because you went away to school and
my hair was damaged.
You couldn't deal with.
Well, I've always been a fan of bigger hair. So the straight hair is cool, but I get really bored with it really fast. So I would do a lot of rod sets. So, and then I would get a lot of compliments on it. People were like, oh, that works for you. You should do that. And so, yeah, I'm like, oh, maybe I should go natural, but you know, be very curly, and you know how you're curious about what your natural texture looks like because you never know what it looked like. So, yeah, that was a bit of a shock too, because I definitely didn't have that, you know.
Yeah, you know, I have to talk about my family. So, my dad's side of the family, I would say half of my cousins have a looser curl pattern and half of us don't. And I was the one that I don't have a looser curl pattern. So I was really curious, and as it started growing in and it grew out, I was like, oh, this is gonna be really tough for me to manage.
Yes.
Because at the time that I went natural, I actually probably should not have gone, because both of my daughters, I was still doing their hair and they were natural. So I would have hair weekends, and it was not pleasant to be around me because the whole weekend I was doing hair. So it was my hair and their hair, and it was just too much, which is why I said, you know what, why am I stressing out? Why not I get a style where I know I can maintain it and not have to be so stressed, because with work and kids and, you know, being a wife and doing everything that you have to do in life, it was just too much.
Yeah, it's a part-time job for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we are at the point of a break already. So we're going to take a break, but we will come back and talk a little bit more, because I know that you've had some other experiences with your hair that I'm sure our listeners would benefit from. So with that, we will be back on the other side in about 10 minutes. So see you on the other side.